A CNN analyst claims that the passenger airliner shot down by an Iranian missile was actually caught in the crossfire between the US and Iran. Nancy Pelosi won't send over articles of impeachment, but she did pass a resolution saying President Trump basically needs to check with her before taking out any more Iranian bad guys. And the president rallies to a packed crowd in Ohio. All that and more. I'm Bobby Everly. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you're having a great week. We're going to start with the latest in Iran and how the media is trying to spin the story. It's just amazing, the things that the Democrats say, the things that the media say, and it all goes to a narrative, an anti-Trump narrative that they're trying to push, that they tried to push before President Trump was even president. So, as you know, in retaliation for us taking out Soleimani, the Iranian general, terrorist leader, Iran fired 15 missiles at U.S. targets in Iraq. No Americans were killed. Some of the missiles completely missed their target, but one missile launched from Iran did hit a target, and that was a Ukrainian passenger airliner. Here's the report from Fox News. The Ukrainian passenger plane that crashed shortly after takeoff from Tehran's international airport Wednesday was shot down by mistake by an Iranian anti-aircraft missile, Pentagon officials told Fox News. Officials said U.S. intelligence increasingly points at the airliner being accidentally struck by a Russian-made missile, killing all 176 people on board the flight, just hours after Iran fired more than a dozen ballistic missiles targeting two military bases housing American and coalition troops. An absolute tragedy, one U.S. official told Fox News. They just screwed up, and it's tragic. Well, it is certainly tragic, this loss of life because of Iranian aggression, and now they're trying to cover it up. And here's more from Fox News. The revelations come as Ukrainian investigators reportedly are awaiting permission from Iranian authorities to examine the crash site and look for missile fragments. Iranian's head of civil aviation, quoted by the ISNA news agency as saying Thursday that scientifically it is impossible that a missile hit the Ukrainian plane, and such rumors are illogical, according to Reuters. Iranian officials have blamed a technical malfunction for the aircraft's doom. The U.S. official told Fox News that a Russian-made SA-15 missile, which is part of the Tor surface-to-air missile system, was the kind that brought down the aircraft. Russia delivered 29 Tor M1 systems to Iran in 2007 as part of a $700 million contract signed in December 2005. Iran has displayed the missiles in military parades as well. So, as part of the reporting on this plane going down, because it was a big news, CNN military analyst Susan Hennessy actually tweeted out that the plane went down because it was caught in the crossfire between the U.S. and Iraq. Here's what she tweeted. She said, 176 completely innocent lives killed in the crossfire of reckless escalation. Just an unbelievable tragedy. Killed in the crossfire? The U.S. had missiles shot at them. 15 missiles shot at them, and they retaliated in no way whatsoever. In fact, President Trump said that the next step is just increased sanctions on Iran. That's what he's going to do. No military action. We're going to see what happens next. And yet, this CNN analyst says that the plane went down because it was caught in the crossfire. So obviously, social media blasted her and CNN for this type of reporting, and the tweets were just fantastic. Here's just some of them. This is R.S. Griffith. He tweeted, "Sounds par for the course for a person that supports our enemies and tramples on our own country. Shame on you." And then we have this one from Tommy White. He tweeted, "Asinine comment. The plane was on radar lock by an Iranian surface-to-air missile launcher right after it took off. There was no crossfire." And then I got this one from Chris G., which I thought was pretty good. He writes, "You chose the word crossfire quite deliberately to CNN story. CNN is a verb now. To CNN means to fabricate, mislead, cover up, disguise, or manipulate the truth or fact to further the agenda of the malicious liberal left Democrats. See also word liars. Democrats are despicable. And talk about, he mentioned choosing the words deliberately, right? To CNN something. Have you ever seen those videos out there where they do clip after clip, a montage of news reports all over the country, and they're saying the exact same thing? The script is just shared. And this, caught in the crossfire talking point, was not unique to CNN. And here's a report from Fox News. It says, the CNN analyst wasn't the only journalist to express that sentiment. NBC News correspondent said that the plane crash was at minimum related to crossfire. The Atlantic staff writer Ann Applebaum similarly wrote that the Ukraine was sucked into a geopolitical conflict created by others and that the plane was caught in the crossfire. All right. So again, it's the left doing what it does, the media doing what it does, coming up with a talking point and spreading it out. It's unreal and it's despicable. As the guy tweeted, it's just so bad. And yet this is done over and over again. And it's our job as conservatives to let our friends, let our colleagues know what's really happening. Next, I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi and impeachment, because she's been talking about it. She claimed, as they pushed, that President Trump, this was urgent, that the impeachment process, getting him impeached and kicked out of office, was imperative. It was urgent because he had to go. He was an existential threat to our way of life, the American way of life, and he needed to go. And now she's been sitting on him, okay? So if someone actually believed that President Trump was an existential threat, don't you think that if that president, say, took out a Iranian general and people were talking about that it could lead to World War III, wouldn't she be running those impeachment papers, those articles of impeachment up to the Senate and say, let's do this now? Nope. She's still sitting on them and hasn't done anything. Here's a report from the Washington Times. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defiantly held onto the articles of impeachment Thursday despite cracks in support from congressional Democrats and ramped up efforts by Senate Republicans to take matters into their own hands. The California Democrat suggested she won't block the Senate trial indefinitely, saying the 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump would be transmitted soon. But she insisted the Senate first make public the rules of the trial. Precedent dictates that the trial cannot start until a House Speaker sends the articles to the upper chamber. This is so bizarre. I mean, she rushed impeachment, but now holds on to it. And the reason she's holding on to it is because she didn't read the political tea leaves correctly. And this has been a political loser from the start. The longer impeachment has gone on, the more support it's lost, and the more support President Trump has gained. And now the Republicans in the Senate are talking about just dismissing the charges altogether. If she's not going to bring them, then forget a Senate trial. Let's just dismiss the charges. Here's that report from the Washington Times. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell signed onto a resolution Thursday that was introduced earlier this week to change the rules for the impeachment impasse. The rule change would allow Senate Republicans to dismiss the impeachment charges against the president if Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi continues to refuse to transmit the articles of impeachment to the upper chamber. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri Republican introduced the measure Monday and accused Ms. Pelosi of obstructing a Senate trial, which is to occur after the House votes to impeach a sitting president under the U.S. Constitution. So one thing's for sure, the longer she waits, the more momentum builds with her and unity with the Republicans in the Senate to do something and to end this. And here's more. A dozen GOP senators have signed on to Mr. Hawley's resolution, which would deem the articles of impeachment to have been transmitted to the Senate if the House fails to do so within 25 calendar days, according to the text of the measure. A senator then could introduce a motion to dismiss the articles with prejudice for failure by the House of Representatives to prosecute. The full Senate would then have to vote on dismissing the impeachment charges, which would require a simple majority to pass. So as I said, the article said, there are Democrats that are getting shaky. Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, stepped forward and said, hey, we need to get things done. She's kind of backtrack on that. But there are chinks in the armor. The Democrats, they don't like this. And Nancy Pelosi has put them into a corner. And we're going to see which way they turn when they come out. So meanwhile, while Nancy Pelosi was doing that, President Trump was in Ohio rallying a packed crowd. I mean, cold temperatures are waiting outside, just thousands of people waiting to get in to hear the president. And he was talking about the economy, he's talking about jobs, he's talking about manufacturing, and here's part of the speech.
I used to go around talk about how everyone's leaving. They were all leaving. A lot of you are victims of that leaving. These companies would leave, they'd go to Mexico, they'd go to Canada, they'd close up, they'd buy from China. Now they're all coming back, new ones, old ones, they're all coming back, and many are coming right here to Ohio.
So that was awesome. And then the president added this gem.
And just in case you didn't know it, Ohio just had the best year economically in the history of your state. That's not bad.
And then President Trump went on to talk about Iran and taking out Iranian General Soleimani and the reaction that the Democrats had to taking out a worldwide terrorist leader. And here's what he said.
And yet now I see the radical left Democrats have expressed outrage over the termination of this horrible terrorist. And you know, instead, they should be outraged by Soleimani's savage crimes and the fact that his countless victims were denied justice for so long.
Yep, America takes out a terrorist leader, and the left expresses outrage at President Trump. That's so backwards. This is where our country is now. That backwardsness is the norm from the left. So finally, I want to wrap up with some quick hits. And first, it's Nancy Pelosi, because President Trump was giving his rally, and Nancy Pelosi yesterday was helping pass this war powers resolution limiting what President Trump could do regarding Iran. And here's what she said in her press conference.
To protect American lives and values, we are passing today a war powers resolution to limit the president's military actions. The administration must de-escalate and must prevent further violence. America and the world cannot afford war.
So the resolution basically states that Congress needs to give their approval before President Trump could do anything more regarding Iran, even if it's some imminent strike, which the president has the authority to do. He needs to check with Congress. But it's just a resolution. It's not binding. It's the Democrats saying, this is what we want. This is what you need to do. President Trump can go on doing his own thing. So next, I want to talk to you about some signs that were replaced in Glacier National Park. These signs were put up a decade ago. They're getting new signs because the sign said, because of global warming, these glaciers are going to be gone by 2020. Oops, it's 2020. They're still here. They're getting new signs. And finally, I want to wrap up with some headlines from the Babylon Bee because they were in rare form this week. They're always great. And I want to share a few of them with you. This first one, Trump's approval rating among terrorists hits an all-time low. I love that one. So he's not too popular with terrorists right now. And then this one, this headline is based on actual beef that media are complaining about the Babylon Bee because of their misleading headlines, even though it's a satire site. And we have this headline: CNN attacks a Babylon Bee. The internet is only big enough for one fake news site. I just love that one. And then with Nancy Pelosi and her messed up impeachment, just bogus deal, screw up as far as political awareness is concerned, we have this headline: Democrats grasping at straws to impeach Trump now regret banning straws. So there you have it. They have nothing to grasp onto anymore. Everything they have tried has failed, and it's just so funny to watch as they scramble, where now they've reached the point where they have to blast our sitting president for taking out a worldwide leader of terrorism, someone who just recently killed Americans, someone responsible for over 600 American deaths. They have to blast the president because of Trump derangement syndrome. It's just ridiculous. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.